My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And today we take you on a journey through the history of some of our favorite cyber pirates that have taken over our hearts, leaving our hearts alive. Anyone? No, I didn't think of a good pun for this one. That's right. It's Sky's birthday choice because it was Sky's birthday this month. Happy belated. And she wants to talk about ATEEZ, who've been having quite a fun little
they've been
comeback preview show.
I know, we played it really well
recently.
Yeah.
That's really making me go, when's the show dropping?
Yeah,
I want to watch this
tell you
movie.
what's like the movie.
I want the movie of this. So anyway, take it away, Sky. It's the Sky Show today, and we're going to talk all about
we're
the
just
8 Makes One Team boys.
Hi, I'm Sky. And so we will start kind of with the history just a little bit. I'm not going to lean too heavy onto the history of ATEEZ, which ATEEZ, I didn't even write this down. I forgot to write this down. But ATEEZ, what does it mean? A teenager Z. Because
yeah.
Just listen.
Sure.
If you look too deeply,
ATEEZ, in case you don't know, but that's on the title. So I'm
like
sure
if you look too deeply into the meanings behind K-pop group names, it just gets more ludicrous as the deeper you go.
Yeah.
So KQ is their entertainment company that they are on, which is also with Block B. And you can definitely see relations if you look hard enough. They've covered some of that stuff. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But as far as the order that they joined KQ, so they ended up debuting in 2018. But the earliest trainee in KQ was in 2016. It was Kim Hong-jung. 6 months later, it was Yoonho. And then after that, it was together Yeosang and Wooyoung from Big Hit, and Jongho from Top Media, and Mingi from Maru Entertainment. And so then the rest followed after that. So that's kind of the order that they came in. 4 of them competed on Mix 9. There might be some Mix 9 stands listening. So the people that were on that were Hongjung, Mingi, Wooyoung, and Jongho. I have not watched it. I don't like seeing my heart broken, so I just don't watch that.
I don't like that vibe. I don't None of us need that in our life.
There are 8 members. There was a 9th trainee with them for a while before, pre-debut wise, before everything kind of shook out in the end. So that was the thing. They ended up, once they kind of got settled into their 8-member formation, they became KQ Fellas with a Z for a while.
Terrible name. Terrible name.
Well, you know, a lot of groups have this pre-name phase where they have a first name, and this was their first name. And even right now, there's in KQ Entertainment, there's a group like this. There's a little pre-debut group. So it'll be interesting to someday see what little brother group is going to happen with all this. Yeah, they've already started popping up on things and coming to concerts and stuff. So we're going to see what they're like. But KQ Fellas, they released in May 18th, 2018, KQ Fellas Performance Video 1, which, what's the big deal about that? Well, it was a big deal. They performed Pick It Up by Famous Dex, and if you haven't seen it, you should. It will be on our playlist. Please go watch it. Their performance videos when they were pre-debut were really cool, and it actually gave them a lot of traction, and I think it's made a huge difference with their notoriety, just even before they debuted. And that is often the case with a lot of K-pop. So I'm not saying this is unique to just them, but they got a lot, like millions of views on that before they even debuted. So that was kind of different as far as how far it went. If you don't know them, it is hard to tell the difference between the members because they're dressed exactly alike when they're performing. And just like a lot of other K-pop groups, pre-debut, they had a web series, KQ Fellas American Training. They made a pre-debut music video called From. Now, I did not go research this out, but it used to exist on YouTube. There was a time period that it got yanked from YouTube, and everyone was like really sad about that. It's because then that song got plunked onto an official album. If you go searching hard enough, you can find it. It's probably not on the official channel anymore. That was the thing. It used to be on the official channel, and then it wasn't. As far as why they did that, kind of sad because here's pre-debut ATEEZ doing their own music video. It was pretty cool, but if you go searching hard enough, you can locate it. They got their name, and then they released an Mnet show called Codename ATEEZ. It was pretty fun. Honestly, they've had a ton of these shows. A lot of them have very similar names. Some of them are more variety-based. Some of them are more, here's what we do type based. Most of them are variety, though. So that was kind of just the pre-debut story with that. I can't just say their discography is insane for how young of a group they are.
Yeah, we really need to stop it with these. Because we do this all the time. We like someone picks like one group and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And then it's like this massive discography, and I'm like, this is a lot of hours for me to like watch.
And it wasn't nice when it was Stray Kids and then ATEEZ because
I know it was back to back, and I'm like,
this was unintentional.
I don't think I could do this and watch other things. What's going on?
So this is from Wikipedia, so as far as validity, whatever, but their stats, 3 studio albums, I will say 2 of those have been Japanese, but 3 studio albums, 24 singles, which some of those are on, most of those are actually on the main album, 11 EPs, 25 music videos, which I think that is still far less than Stray Kids.
Well, Stray Kids had 70 music videos, so this is,
yeah. But still, once you really look at it, it's like, ATEEZ hasn't had a break either, so like that's, they really have kept going ever since they started. So I'm going to run you through the discography quick, but I will stop to kind of talk about some things. And the names will sometimes be very similar because that's the way they've done it. They've kind of had phases of their discography.
They're telling a story.
They're telling a story.
We're on a journey with ATEEZ.
I guess before I do say that, there's a video out there that the Edenary, the producers of the albums and stuff, and you can tell they are very closely connected with the concepts of all these things too. It's not just music side, it's also the universe side, the storytelling side of everything. I think it was a couple of comebacks ago, I think it was Eden, and he was saying we're not even close to the end of the beginning. Like there's, as far as
we're still in the prologue right now. Yes,
there's a lot to go with the ATEEZ story. So we're like, oh, okay. Even though it feels like we've seen a lot already, but kind of crazy. The first mini album, they debuted October 24th, 2018. It was Treasure, episode 1, All 2-0. The 2 promoted songs were Pirate King and Treasure. Pirate King was the title song. Really cute. Really, really cute choreo. Like, very, very catchy. I actually discovered them just less than a month later after they debuted. I just went and rechecked that. I kind of got after their promotion, but I was able to go watch a lot of their stuff once I started getting into them back in 2018. So not even 3 months later, they turned around and did Treasure episode 2, 0-1. And to put that back to back, the first one was All 2-0. This one's 0-1. Cute. So that was January 15th, 2019. It doesn't sound like it's not even 3 months, but it was. Say My Name and Holla Holla. So Say My Name was the title song. Holla
That's
Holla
when
was
Sky pulled me in. That's Sky recruited for the pirate army at this point and was like, hey, Natalia, I got a little something you might enjoy.
So Holla Holla was actually a performance video, and Holla Holla, Hearts Awaken Live Alive was also the extended title of that. If you're listening to this, you've probably seen that, but if you haven't, go watch that, please.
Chef's kiss, go.
Red and Black, that's a thing for me. I think that's when I started figuring out that was the thing for me.
If you ever want to get her attention, just wave Red and Black in front of her. It's what gets her. She's like, oh, I'm here.
Immediately pull over, and she's like, say what now?
It could be like, like early morning when we're like dead asleep trying to stay awake for like a music show, and I'll be like Sky, Red and Black, and it doesn't even matter if it's a group she likes. She's like, I'm here. I'm here.
I'm awake. I'm
awake.
So then only 5 months later, they turned around and did Treasure episode 3, 1-2 All, June 10th, 2019. So this was all very quick for little baby group ATEEZ, in my opinion. This was the first time they did this whole big thing. I will not say this is the first time a group did it, because I literally do not know. It's the one time that I've seen it happen. But they're like, hey, you guys vote on what you want the title song to be. Even though you don't get to get the whole song. It's just bits of it and kind of a choreo teaser. So the fandom went, the smallish fandom at that point, but it was growing, went pretty nuts with that as far as, wow, we get to pick between Illusion and Wave. Yeah. Both were very summary seeming things, but Wave was kind of more summary. Wave ended up winning. They promote both songs. They release both music videos at the same time. I mean, it's whatever. Like,
so it doesn't matter who you voted for. You still won. You still got what you want.
It was kind of, because like I enjoyed both, of course. So like, but you know, some people within the fandom, it became a thing. Like, no, this one's like, okay. I'll preface by saying that album didn't seem very lore heavy. So some of their albums just don't seem to connect much. Illusion somewhat did, but it kind of seems more like a daydream than anything else as far as connected with like the storytelling of things. But so this was the first time voting happened, but the next time voting comes up, people kind of start going, oh no, based on what we picked, did that affect, did we like just choose our own adventure? And did we cause like the darkest the darkest
timeline. So, I hope so. Like,
so funny. So like that question didn't come up yet during that voting time, but the next one it does. So I was just prefacing that. Which is funny, but like when you see what that goes up against, yeah, it was like, oh no, what have we done? So Wave did get them their first music show win on M Countdown on June 20th. 2019, and then they got their second win on the show 5 days later. After this, I'm not going to talk about their wins because they got more wins, but I thought that was yay. They got
the first one is always the
first one's always important.
They cried. It was cute. Go watch those videos. Only 4 months later, they turn around and do Treasure Episode Finn, All to Action. This was their first full album.
Sick album, by the way.
And it is magnificent, the entire thing.
Sick album.
Title track was Wonderland. One funny thing about the Wonderland music video, when it was subbed at first, like when I think they changed this within a handful of hours, but when it was English subtitled, right off the bat, I don't remember what the exact line was, but one of Yosang's lines involved the F word, like fuck this or something. Pretty soon they they changed the wording of that. It was kind of funny because we were all like, whoa,
let the man swear.
It was pretty funny. Then they had December 4th, 2019, they did Treasure Episode Extra Shift the Map Japanese full album. I'm going to be very honest. I haven't paid a lot of attention to those because ATEEZ, they it's hard for me to keep up with ATEEZ because they do crank stuff out so quick. In case you don't know, it is harder to get your mitts on Japanese stuff, especially now that shipping is higher and things like that. It's just a thing. It is easier for groups like this who are, at this point, rather popular. You will be able to find these things. But in general, it's harder to get them. You're not guaranteed. But again, even ATEEZ Japanese releases, you might be able to find them on most of your online K-pop stores, really, at this point, because they've gotten that big. So after that release, only 3 months later, January 6th, 2020, Treasure Epilogue Action to Answer. So the thing about that, I remember when they released this, because I had paid attention. When they released the full album, Treasure Episode Finn, I was like, done. That phase should be done. We should be moving on to... No, we have to do an epilogue.
Listen, they're time travel. Nothing's ever set in stone, okay?
Really hold on to things.
Listen, we don't know. Like,
Epilogue Action to Answer. The title track is Horizon. This was the moment in time that they were going to do a world tour.
Oh no.
And I will revisit this other part later. I had already seen them once in person. However, this was the time when Jessie, Natalia, and I bought tickets to go see them in Chicago.
Plan. We had tickets. We had plane tickets. We had an Airbnb booked. We were ready to go for April 2020. We were excited.
And it was so hard to get those tickets because everything
we had to work and we got good seats. Like we had
I think we were like sitting separately, but we just had to accept that.
Like we also got it so we were like close to each other too. Like, it like worked out even when at like, the worst. Oh my gosh.
But then
we were gonna like try to like con someone into trading one. It was like one person was like a row ahead. Anyway, we had it all planned and all paid for.
Yeah. No.
We lost.
I had plane tickets.
We're never going to financially recover from this. Let's just say that.
And for the record, we didn't get refunds from that until 2 years later. But whatever.
Yeah. I never got refunds for the Airbnb, and I never got refunds for a plane ticket.
I technically didn't get a refund for the plane ticket, but I tried to use it, a couple days ago, but then couldn't. So
yeah, so she lost it too. Ultimately.
Never going to financially
recover. We planned that like basically this episode we were going to record this episode back then. It would have been a much shorter episode because I'm looking at these giant discography that's come out since then.
They've been working pretty hard since then, gonna be honest.
Yeah, so we were gonna do like a hype to the concert thing. Yeah, or it was even gonna be an after concert. We were gonna
have like a vlog and shit. We had a whole plan. And then 2020 happened.
and then 2020.
and then after that, we were sad, and so we didn't want to talk about ATEEZ for a while.
Yeah. It still hurt. Okay. It still hurts a little.
It still does.
I saw I was on my Instagram, my like other Instagram, which is just like my regular Instagram. And I saw the little post and was like, supposed to be going to see ATEEZ today. And I'm like, oh.
That's really sad. Wow. So that was January 2020 when that released. But like then the concert tour was soon thereafter.
Supposed to be in April.
And I want to say, if memory serves, which like, things have happened. I want to say they actually started that tour. I feel like they went to Madrid. Like they might have started
like a European side of it, or
I feel like they got to Europe and they were there for like a night or two, and they had to go back. So it was really bad timing.
And that was when I was stuck in the basement at my coworker's house for several months.
My gosh,
it was a rough time for everyone involved.
So 6 months later, still in the year of our Lord 2020, July 29th, they did finally start their new era, then Fever Part 1. So this became a thing. I'm going to preface right now. So it was another voting moment, but we will talk about that. The two that were voted on were Inception and Thanks, with 2 X's instead of an S. Mm-hmm. The thing about Thanks, nothing wrong with the song. Nothing wrong. Nothing really overall wrong that ATEEZ necessarily did. And I'm not going to call this a scandal because it's literally not. Cultural appropriation with how they styled Hongjoong's hair for the Thanks teasers that they even did for the voting, and with the Thanks music video. The fans communicated appropriately to KQ. KQ didn't handle it all that well. They somewhat handled it. Anyway, fans made sure that Thanks was not going to earn the title win between the voting thing. So, Inception won that, became the quote-unquote main title. Thanks still got promoted. Thanks is a good song. It's very important that fandoms, whenever these things do crop up, that things do get communicated. Try to get fixed as much as is within fans' power. And fans were trying to, and that's how they tried to communicate it. Like, we're not gonna, no matter if someone preferred Thanks the song, it became a thing to try to not give as much attention to some with cultural appropriation. So that's that. I cannot speak to a lot of those things, but this occurred. So
it'd be what it be. It'd be what it be.
And I do think that palm-colored people like myself should not say much to that other than this occurred and support voices that should be amplified in those moments.
Yeah.
That's really all I can ever say about that. Not good to be like, I think this. No, doesn't matter what I think. I think it's good to support voices that need to be heard. That's what I think. So again, there's a whole thing about stylists and whatever versus, again, I don't blame the kids. So that was July 2020. This is kind of when they started getting a little bit more domestic recognition. They really weren't getting a ton. The international side, they've pretty much always been popular from square one. Because they
love pirates.
They even did American training and stuff, so they've really always had a pretty good connection to, and even the leader's pretty decent at English. So I mean, it's always been this thing. But they started going on to Immortal Songs 2 at around this time. If you don't know what Immortal Songs 2 is, I talk about it a lot because it's a really cool Korean main time TV show about music that any type of music performer popular kind of ends up on the show. And so you get a lot of different genres performing together and often reimagining very popular Korean songs or even American songs. So like it's these really cool, you get a lot of really cool remixes essentially, but you also get to see sometimes traditional Korean music and a ballad singer and a rapper. I mean, so it's a really neat show like that. So it's a pretty big deal when idol groups get on these. I will say it's obvious when you get really newbie idol groups on there, it's obvious they usually have those network TV connections. Like, why are you here? But it's because you are the trust fund baby from whatever Mnet or whoever you are. So ATEEZ did start getting on there. They covered like Turbo's Black Cat Nero. They covered
so good.
Rainism from Rain. I mean, there's like lots of really, really neat performances. I guess I can go into this. It's also a competition show typically where you kind of go each performer then goes up against the one before them, kind of. And at the end of the episode, you get a trophy. So ATEEZ won like they won 3 out of 4 times that they were on Immortal Songs during this time period over the stretch of like a year or two. Really good performances. Go check them out. The only one they didn't win, it was the King of Kings special. So it was all of the winners from like, So that's the only time they didn't. Just saying. I guess I was saying I wasn't going to talk about awards, but hey.
This is different. It's different. It's different.
But this type of thing it did lead to like Korea domestic side, kind of the general population recognizing them a little bit more, especially they started working with Kim Jong-kook a little bit, things like that. So that's where this all kind of began. 8 months later, but they didn't really take a break during that time. Just saying, they were doing stuff, obviously. March 1st, 2021, we're finally out of the hell that was 2020.
Into the hell that was 2021. Hey, yo!
It's a new kind of hell.
Just hell 2.0. Yeah.
Well, Zero Fever Part 2. There we go. So the title song was Fireworks or I'm the One. When I was doing notes here, I don't know how I tried to write Mingy, but I think it autocorrected to Minnie. Minnie had to sit out of promotion.
Minnie.
Minnie
yes,
Mingy.
Yes, Minnie did.
Which was really sad because, there are two main rappers within ATEEZ. He's one of them. So then the same month, March 24th, 2021, they did Into the A2Z Japanese full album. Then they had a wee bit of time, but then August happened. August 2021. On the 16th, they dropped Season Songs with Kim Jong-kook. So an official release of their Black Cat Nero with him. White Love and Be My Lover was the title track that they did with him. Very cute. Very Kim Jong-kook. Ballady. Fun. Then just a few days later, August 20th, it was really hard to keep up with this, like in real time. There was a lot of things going on. Pentatonics, they did a collab. 3 of them. San and Jungho did A Little Space with Pentatonics. Very fun song. Like I really enjoy it. But I always like Pentatonic stuff.
Yeah.
It was a nice one because my daughter's super independent so it was like, hey, something we can both listen to. Yay!
And then 6 months later, which like for them, that's quite a time span. 6 months later, September 13th, 2021, Zero Fever Part 3. Again, I told you that the titles were going to be similar. Again, we had a voting competition. This, I think, was the time that the fandom wondered, did we choose the darkest timeline? Because it was Deja Vu versus Eternal Sunshine. Mm-hmm. And Deja Vu won Eternal Sunshine, which was obviously the lighter of the timelines. So it really made everybody wonder if in choosing that, like, if that affected the storytelling. I really don't think it did, but that's kind of the joke.
It probably didn't, but it'd be really funny if it did.
It'd be funny if it did.
Especially if they were expecting it to, and they're like, fuck, I know. What are we going to do now?
They're actually a group of just like delightful little sunshine boys who have been forced into this dark concept by their fans, and they're
chaos.
Well, so that kind of even happened. The first voting was Illusion and Wave. So Illusion was the one that kind of leaned heavy on like the piratey. It was kind of a daydream piratey situation, and Wave was more like, we're cute skater boys, like having a moment in the grocery store. So like even then,
and the bands were like, no, emo, pirates.
Well, but that's the thing. So in that moment, the fandom chose Wave. They didn't choose Illusion. So everyone was like, oh no, are they not going to keep like? I hope they know we like the pirate thing. Like,
no, we're into the pirates. We're into the. They were like, no, we got you, fam. We know you're into the pirates. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So that happened, and then only 3 months later, they come and do, in December 10th, 2021, Zero Fever Epilogue, that release, which was the real hung version, and Turbulence was the additional promotional track for that. So that's the most recent, like, official comeback, other than the one that they are currently starting to promote.
The mystery comeback.
And I'm going to talk about that just for a second. So that is The World Episode 1 Movement. It was just released like a couple of days or two ago that the title track is going to be called Guerrilla, but spelled, like guerrilla warfare, not the animal.
Not the yeah.
But I do want to mention, and I have no clue what the secondary promo track will be, but I would like it to be cyberpunk because I think that sounds like a fun title.
Yeah. Although, and also the previews are very cyberpunk dystopia vibes.
They are like, honestly, they're in the same world as Alexa. If we're really being honest with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
and really Dreamcatcher. So I will say I will push this agenda for a moment.
Please do.
If you push the agenda.
If you are an ATEEZ fan, and if you have, I'm sure you have seen mention, but please, if you have not, or if you haven't checked them out a lot, continue to do so more. Dreamcatcher, because I can almost guarantee that you will enjoy them.
And Alexa, they are the same producers.
Yeah,
Lees and Oleander are on both of them.
Yeah, that's what you need to understand is musically you will enjoy them.
It's the same people doing the same stuff. Yeah.
So they sit at the same table. Okay?
and even
immaculate and identical.
Even music video vibes. Yeah. You go and that Dream Tease, Dreamcatcher ATEEZ. You need this is a universe thing that is a thing. Plus Alexa. Alexa, you need to check her out. You will enjoy her. I promise.
Her agenda is just like giving everybody like other people to go, and they're like, you have to pick up ATEEZ and like 4 other people. I'm sorry.
Don't listen. We don't coming out of here you into ATEEZ, group. But it doesn't stop there. Yeah. Okay, you got to keep going. We're here for we're helping you. We're helping you.
Them's the rules, especially the fact, as Jessie said, Dreamcatcher and ATEEZ share producers, and not just like, oh, this one album. No, every album.
No, Lees and Oleander are like the primary producing duo for Dreamcatcher, and then they're also for ATEEZ. Like, it's not like they just like are, you know, just like always pick them up. It's like they are the primary. When like Dreamcatcher was doing their solo work, they were working with Lee's and Oleander like as their like mentors in producing. So you really have to like both of them.
Yes.
Like
this is
you have no choice.
Them's the rules. So that's
the breaks.
Which means you need to go check out our Dreamcatcher episode that we have already done.
Absolutely, you do. Absolutely,
it's a little dated, but you know what?
Yeah,
it's a
but
good
you can catch up yourself.
So are we, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. As I said, I discovered them in November 13th, 2018. I went and checked my Twitter. That's how I figured that out. I did not write it in the diary. I guess that was how I wrote it in
Dear
a diary.
In
my old defunct only K-pop Twitter, I went and found it. So what about you ladies? When did you I know that I did start pushing the ATEEZ agenda at some point.
Well, it was right when Hala Hala first dropped, because I was reading a steampunk novel, and then Sky said, "Oh, you like that steampunk novel? How about a steampunk boy band?" And I was like, "Say less." And then she showed me that, literally didn't even show me the music video. Okay, she just showed me the picture of like their Hala Hala outfits, and I was like, I'm in. Like, and then I watched it and was like, I'm actually doubly in, because this is my vibe. And then I've loved them since then. So it was literally like an immediate like, oh, these are some sick masks and hats, and I see a mullet, love it. Enough. Then I was like, and they sound like pirates, you say?
Pirates, huh?
Done. Absolutely. Say less. Stop selling when you've already sold.
I just remember, I think it was Say My Name, right? Like, I mean, I know I remember that song. I think that's sort of when
that was the era. Yeah.
And that was the the driving dance, but the like shopping cart, baby, buggy, like choreo that like just blew up, and it was just so funny to like watch them. They knew people were making fun of it and doing stuff, and it was just fun.
Just for the record, in case the listeners don't make the connection, that was all the same era. So that was all the same album time. Yeah. It was Say My Name was the title track, and Hala Hala was. So like it was all the same thing. Though Say My Name was kind of more brown vibes, and Hala Hala was more black vibes. But like that was all the same moment in time, really. So how about you, Jessie?
So I know officially I learned of them when they were still KQ fellas, because Young Sang, who is part of Double S 501, used to be at KQ. He has since left because he started his own company, but he was there when KQ Fellas was happening. So he was constantly pushing them on his Instagram. So that's why I knew about them and kind of like knew of them and what they were doing. I don't really remember exactly when I like officially was like ATEEZ. I think they were just kind of like always there too. So like I think that's like the problem I have with them. They were kind of just like always there. So I don't have like a signified like this. But I know for a fact that KQ Flows was my first introduction, just because of how much Young Sang was posting a lot on a lot of his like, you know, Instagram and stuff.
Because they really did do a fair amount of
They did a lot of stuff, and they would do like little stuff too that were like little vlogs. I think they were only for like Instagram too, or something like that. They were like small little like 30-second clips. It wasn't like a huge thing. But yeah, it was just like, you know, constantly seeing that like reblogged. I just knew of them because of that.
So real quick, we'll run through the members. I'm not going to sit here and like go into the personality of each of these 8 very fun children.
There are plenty of videos that can help you out.
Right. Yeah. I'm not going to give
we don't need to tell you
details.
What a delight they are. You can experience that for yourself.
I will say there's pretty much the 2 eldest, and then there's the 99. They're all born in 99. And that is even how they all refer to themselves. Yes. So you pretty much have the parents and the children, and that is just the way they function. So you have the oldest, Park Sung-kwa. He is vocalist and visual. There are 2 visuals in this group. He's the mom. he even knows
officially there's 2 visuals, but there's
I was
8
gonna
visuals
say,
in this group. Like,
well, I'm just saying, like,
title officially. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying the title.
I know.
Yeah,
they always
we're just
slap the visual sticker on one of the kids, at least one. You have 2 visual stickers officially on 2 people. So the leader is Kim, or the captain rather, is Kim Hong-jung. Leader, lead rapper, vocalist, center, composer. So those are the 2 parents. That's just the way it be. They try to make it seem like they're like more mature and stuff. They're not. But usually Kim Hong-jung just sits there and has to just deal with everyone. That's really usually how it feels.
He's really one of those, like, not to say that he's not doing great, but he was literally like, he just got the leader. It's not because it's in his blood, you know?
Yeah.
He's more the composer than any, like, just music side.
He happened to compose and be one of the oldest.
And then you have Sung-hwa, who is like the quietest of the group, and most of the time doesn't know anything about what's going on, except for the fact he's really good at stopping things from happening. Like if someone's about to like eat a mic, he's like there in a second grabbing it. Like that's only where he's like actually around.
And he really likes cleaning.
Yeah.
So he tries to make sure that, they don't live in filth. And it drives him crazy. And when I say he enjoys cleaning, he is the type, like, he has, the rollers that have like tape on them to like clean.
So
that's his
when you
job.
say mom, he's the mom. He's the toddler mom, because all those things that, like, don't put it in your mouth.
No, if you watch some of the stuff, it's literally like him just like stopping people from falling. Like out of the corner of his eye, he just like stops someone from falling off a chair.
Very toddler mom life. Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah. So then we get to the 99s, because that's the way it is. So Jung Yoon-ho, main dancer, vocalist. Kang Yo-sang, lead dancer, vocalist. He's the second kid with a visual sticker on him. Choi San, he is the lead vocalist. Song Mingi, main dancer, main rapper.
Not the visual.
None of this makes sense, okay? It's like it's all made up, and the titles don't
has
matter.
the like model look to him. I'm like, okay, I get it.
The only way it can be explained is that if you go see pre-debut San. Pre-debut San is a very quiet, to himself person. Like he really, really is. He was just a little bean, and he even had kind of curly hair during a moment, like so. But he came into himself as he started performing. So, yeah, pretty much as far as if you had to say like who's the most recognizable performer, there's San and Sung-hwa. As far as and then if you like ends up popping up too.
Yeah, and then in vocals, I would say that Mingi is the one that just his rap,
low voice, his low voice. Yeah.
So. Choi-san, lead vocalist, but like at this point, we could probably slap in there like performance something probably. Song Mingi, main dancer, main rapper, but really you usually just think of him as like rapper. That's typically what you think of him as. Jung Woo-young, he's main dancer, vocalist. Looks like he has a visual sticker on him too. Whatever. All the children.
They're all beautiful.
He is kind of an agent of chaos. That's really what he is.
Yes.
He just is. And that's him and San being connected at the hip is a problem. It just is. And I'm not meaning like sexy performance stuff. That sounds really bad. Sexy performance stuff. I'm meaning like off-screen.
They're gremlins. They are okay. They have gremlin energy together that amplifies each other.
And Choi Jung-ho, he's main vocalist, Maknae. And when I say main vocalist,
apple guy. He's the apple
main vocalist, and he is the apple guy.
He's the apple guy.
He always
even
sings
if you
it
don't know
ATEEZ,
ATEEZ, usually if you're into K-pop, you know about the apple guy. That's him. He's the apple guy.
And then they started giving him
if you don't know about the apple guy, he's the guy who like sings operatically while ripping apples apart with his bare hands.
What's also funny is like when I was looking into this more, I saw a clip, just a small clip of, so he was sitting there doing the apple thing, and Mingy comes up and he tries to do it, can't, and then he just puts it back down, and Jungho takes it from him and just rips it as he's singing. Just keeps going.
I like there's some they just like try to give him different fruits. One person gave him a cantaloupe, and he's like sitting there. He's like, I can't do this.
Oh, and I will say, if you're looking for the most biting, like, sense of humor, that, my friend, is Kong Yo-song. Like,
snark, the snark master.
He is so snarky. He's usually just kind of observing everyone, and then he'll come in just to, like, be snarky about something. It's marvelous. Yoonho, he's the resident, like, always before a comeback, they'll have a news. So he's the news announcer, telling the crazy stuff that they've been up to.
So I used to have a lot of trouble telling Yoonho and Jungho apart.
And by the way, they're the Ho brothers. That's how they refer to themselves.
And then it turns out, and then I felt really bad about it, but then it turns out that it wasn't just me, because after one of their like comebacks, one of the like main replies was, "Does ATEEZ have a set of twins in it?"
Wow.
So it's like it wasn't just me. San and Sungwa also look alike.
Yeah.
There are times when they're like they both have black hair, and it's literally you're like they have to be brothers. Like they have to be related.
Yeah.
Lots of similar looks in this group.
And as far if we're talking physical attributes, so everyone's like, "Oh, Kim Hong-jung is so tiny." The poor child is really not that tiny. He's really not.
He's not.
It's just that
comparatively.
Yeah, it's just that there are very large.
Yeah.
Like he's 5'8". That's like an average size. Okay, it's just that everyone else is bigger than him. Like it's
so
not
they give him
fault.
a pretty hard time. And Jungho, there was one of their early like little web series training thing, whatever. They were in America and they had to do all these like they're in Australia. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think they're in Australia. Jungho. So they had to do these things that they were like afraid to go do. It was this whole big thing. Jungho had to go to like a gym and challenge people to arm wrestle.
Embarrassing.
Yes.
But he did very well.
He did.
He's a very strong
Mingy
magnet.
having to ask for stuff in English at the pharmacy, and poor man.
And he's like trying to explain it. He's like, trying
to mime it. And like the pharmacist was so kind. So kind about this nonsense.
So Mingy, we could talk about him for a second. He has this low voice when he's rapping, but he's really very a fluffy person. Like he's a baby child. Really. He has puppy dog eyes sometimes, and he usually has no idea what's going on, but it's okay. But when he's in a variety setting,
hilarious.
He will tell so many lies, but he will act like they're the truth, and he will like die at the stake for that.
Sell that lie. Like they even did like the little lie detector like game, and he was just like, it's like, have you ever told a lie? And he's like, absolutely not. I'm an angel. And they were like, it says he's telling the truth. Like, I don't know, man.
So that's the joke about Mingy. They did in the whenever they were forming, they were coming up with like stage names and all types of things, but they ended up going with just these are all their given names. None of them changed them or anything. So they typically go by just their given name, not their family name as well. So I think that's really cool. I also think it's kind of neat if you do look at their family names. It's a pretty good mix. It's not just Lee's and Kim's because that common, but it's interesting how many different ones. Even though you do have two Choi's in there. Generally, they're just chaotic, as many.
They're so chaotic.
They're
like beyond chaotic. Oh my gosh, what was it? I think it was San's birthday, not his like most recent birthday because it was like 2 days ago or whatever, but like last year's, I think it was. Whenever he had like still had the shorter hair, he was doing a live with Woo Young. Oh my gosh, it's the funniest live ever because there's this one part. Woo Young gets on the phone and he's like, "Oh, Appa, blah 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 blah," and then he's like, "How's Oma?" and like going on and on, and finally, like San looks at the phone. He goes, "That's my dad. What are you doing?" And he's just like sitting there in the corner talking to San's dad during the entire thing. And then finally gets him on like
their
speaker,
energy.
and he's like, "Did you see me?" Like Will Young's like, "Did you see me?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm watching the live." And I was like, "What are you doing? It's my dad." Oh my God.
I like the one
He's like, no, it's our dad.
Yeah.
Like,
what was the I can't remember what it was from, but like there's one where like I think it was Yoonho's like in a fridge, and he's just like all the like staff members coming to like get something out of the fridge, and he's like, here, and they're like, ah!
I think that was during the Say My Name promotions. They were doing all types of little weird skits. Even when you don't have entire variety series from them with various things, that you'll have kind of a one-off like fun day, from whatever production company. It might have been Hello 82 or whatever, but it really, the title of it in English ended up being like, it was pretty much Hongjung and the Toddlers. Like, that was the name. And I couldn't ever figure out if they were ever told to act like toddlers and thus they were acting like toddlers, or if that was literally just the way
that's how they do.
They just named it afterwards because they were like, you know what this looks like?
That's because, I mean, it involved like San, like, because poor Hongjung was trying, because he had made like the agenda of the day. And he was trying to get them to pretty much like dance practice and do things. He was trying to name them different things that would sound more appealing to make them do it. But meditation, you can't like make that sound more appealing. It is what it is. So he was like, well, we're going to go meditate. And so like San is on his belly, like army crawling everywhere like a toddler. And then like messing with Wu, like they were just, they're toddlers. Like they just are. It's fine. One of my favorite clips so whenever I started really getting into them during the Say My Name era and the Hall era, I was following all of their logbooks and stuff. I'm going to admit now, I have not watched other logbooks since then. Like, so much content. But
so much content.
During that time, when they were at music shows and stuff, Yoonho was at their music show backstage, and so for the logbook, that the camera comes up to him and he's just having a moment. He's like shocked, like happily shocked about something, and they're like, "What's going on, man?" He's like, I can't even speak right now. He's like, he had to gather himself and be like, I just met my idol in the bathroom. Like, so he had met from TVXQ in the bathroom, and he was just like, I can't even explain how much of a big deal that is. Like, I met him and I'm just so happy. Like, he just kept saying, like, I'm so embarrassed and I'm so happy. It was so cute. Do you guys have any other favorite moments that you saw?
Oh my gosh.
Oh geez. There's like, what happens is you watch so much that then it becomes just like, but I must say when Mingy just absolutely betrayed them on Weekly Idol and joined One Us.
Yeah,
and One Us, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm part of One Us now." And they're like, "Fine, 7 makes one team." Like, what?
Oh my gosh, them doing Mafia. Just watch them. They're so bad at Mafia. Like, so bad at it. And like you'll be watching it and you're like, why didn't you just do that? And it's like because they don't know how they're playing. And there's like San will be the doctor, but he'll forget and think he's one of the Mafia members and then ruins everything, and then they have to like go do something. You're like, what?
I will say, like, if I was stranded in South Korea and I wanted to like call upon one of my favorite groups to like help me do something, it wouldn't be ATEEZ because
no.
They would want to help.
Chaotic, and
they would try.
They would try, but they're just not good at it. Like they're just not. Like that's not the, like in their smarts, you know. You're but like,
talking about that though, it actually does remind me. There was early on. It might have been Say My Name or something, but there was a clip. They did a hidden camera thing on Songhua of a little girl that was lost, is what it seemed like. And so, he turned on his mom stuff, like, and holding her
And he's
hand and
"It's
like
gonna be
trying to help.
We're gonna find your mom. Don't worry about it."
He did everything right.
He did everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
There
like,
was
"Stay out of the
also
street."
they did a one in, I think, was it Son, where it was like him meeting up with like one of the managers or somebody who was like going to be at the program that they were, and one of the other girls had like all these like drinks and stuff, and he like ran up to her and grabbed the cases of like water and stuff to like like carry it for her, so she didn't have to like carry it. It's very sweet.
So overall, they have hearts of gold. It's just as a entire unit, they would not be able to get anything done.
No.
They're just chaos.
And they've got very box full of puppy kind of energy.
You're not taking them to like what are they called, the like escape rooms? You're not taking them to them.
No, you're never getting out.
They're gonna break everything, and then you're gonna be like, oh gosh, well,
that's why even the way Running Man does and stuff. So like only a couple of members, and that's just the way Running Man functions. You only get a couple of members from a group typically these days. So it's good that it was only a couple members, or else it wouldn't have worked.
Because there is like an episode of like an escape room horror show. They're useless.
Yeah,
as a group, useless. Absolutely useless at anything. I will say though, they were very delightful on Kingdom, because they were the ones that every time it would like flash to them watching, they would all have their little phones with like the other group member, like the group's names, to be like, "We love you," like, and then every time Changbin from Stray Kids would do anything, Woo Young would be like, "That's my best friend. That's my best friend." Like, and then they were just openly flirting with Icon the whole time. They were like, "Yeah, we should like go get dinner. Like, our buildings aren't too far apart. Like, we could like hang out and have dinner sometime." Like, the energy, just chaos, fun energy that exuded from that.
When you mentioned that horror thing, I just like think of all the clips I've seen of Yunho like doing stuff like where they do like a horror prank on him, or he has to watch like horror, and like it's not phasing him at all. Like nothing. It's like somebody like crawls out of the toilet or whatever. Like it's the girl from The Ring, and he's like, "Hey, do you need something?" Like he's just like nothing phases him at all. It's hilarious.
Yeah, like there's a clip that's pretty much a haunted house type situation. They'll go a couple at a time. It's a thing on that Universe app.
No.
And other groups have done this as well. And so you quickly figure out who doesn't do well in those situations. One of which is Hongjung. He doesn't do well in those situations.
No.
That's not his vibe.
No.
I will say that conceptually, they do not push. In case you don't know, they do not push the pirate thing with every single concept. They really don't.
No, they really don't.
It's a pirate spirit. Okay, they've got the spirit of space pirates.
I think honestly, I think they just really like that they have a flag. Like that's really, I think that's
the main thing. They like having a flag.
Yeah.
But I will say, okay, so
they've got marching band quality though to them. They are marching band.
Definitely in Wonderland.
Yeah, definitely in Wonderland. Like if you've seen Kingdom, they, to their credit, put their plot line through almost all of their performances that they did with Kingdom.
Yeah.
They were like, no, we may be performing other people's songs, but the story.
Well, I will say that about ATEEZ, they're definitely a performance group more than anything else.
Yeah. They put on a show.
Yeah. You can tell that like that's like probably one of the like driving forces of why the company picked them too. Like how they're able to like kind of switch in and out and like actually perform and have really good stage presence. Like they all have really good stage presence.
Yeah. They'd be great like musical actors if they put their minds to it.
Oh yeah. And one thing that even predate, like they really got taught and then continued to teach themselves after they learned how to do that was like the facial expressions that go along with all of their choreography and stuff. They really do. That's something they've focused on from early on, and they've gotten even better at it as time's gone on. So whenever I really got into them during the Say My Name Hala Hala era, and that's pretty much their first tour over to the US. It was the first time that happened. And so I hopped on that super quick because even though they only had 2 mini albums out, their discography was not big. I felt good about, no, I want to see them because performance-wise, they did not feel like a brand new baby group. I will say that is now kind of a thing within K-pop. Yeah. Baby groups often don't feel like baby groups anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like that kind of started probably being a trend in 4th gen. As far as no one debuts with us, they don't usually debut kind of looking like puppies, not quite knowing what they're doing as much. And then they continue to grow, of course, but really 4th gen and on, they're very polished whenever they come out. And ATEEZ is a very good example of that. So that's why I felt really good, even that early on, going, no, I really want to see them. So they were actually my first K-pop concert. I went on this crazy little by myself trip I went to go see ATEEZ in Chicago. The next day I went down to Dallas area to see Astro. And then I went back home. I needed to get back home for other stuff. So I was busy, but I had a lot of fun.
You went on a lovely little journey there.
Yeah. And that was the last time I got to go to a concert. So that was the thing. But but even then, seeing them in person, they did so well. Like even as a 2 mini album, not even 1-year-old group, like they didn't even have that much to perform, and they performed pretty much all of it, plus some covers and all types of stuff, and they did very, very, very well.
That's kind of a nice thing about going to see a concert early in somebody's career, right? Like if you know that all the songs you like are going to get played at the concert.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
That's
true.
There's only 10 songs.
You're right.
So, like,
it's not like they didn't do this one. No, they did them all.
Well, and like that's always been a thing that's frustrated me about going to concerts like later until you reach past a certain point, and then these bands are all just doing like best of concerts anyway. Your favorite songs never get played because those were from 2 albums ago, and we're not going to sing those. And you're like, dang it.
So we are sad that we didn't get to see them together.
So
but
sad.
That's the way life goes sometimes. The new concept does look really fun, though.
It looks sick as hell.
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I think another thing to mention is, so if you don't know what MAMA is, MAMA, I don't remember what it stands for exactly, but it's a music award show. In 2021, their performance at MAMA was really, really good. And it involves covers as well. And it was really, really fun. No, I guess 2019 had the covers.
The 2019 one, yeah. They did Wonderland. They did.
And then 2021,
Shiny.
it was still pretty good.
Miss A one too, I think, or for a minute, I can't remember.
And then there was one I think the first time they went to KCON, they covered Very Good by Block B, the rock version. It's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh. They've covered
their
a lot
covers
of stuff.
are really good too. Like
they're
their quality from A to the Z. Whoa.
And then one thing also to mention, they did end up on Ask Me Anything, kind of, a little bit. So it wasn't one of the official Ask Me Anything or Knowing Bros or whatever you want to call that show. But they kind of did a separate that group kind of a separate project where they did a music video for Heechul and man, I can't think of the other guy's name.
Also, Kong Bin.
Yeah. The singer guy.
It's a great song, but it's also a great music video.
So the music video in the song is called Hanrang, and it's set like at a traditional like Korean kind of castle-y type thing. But so they're all in hanbok and stuff. And ATEEZ does not sing because that's Heechul and everybody else. But they were kind of the dance performers on that music video. And then also the making of that stuff was really fun. So they ended up like doing some performance also within like the classroom setting of that show a little bit to kind of connect all that project stuff. But Really fun music video. Go check it out. And they were really funny with all those people. And also, been on, I don't remember what the name of that, like, Running Man adjacent show that's on Disney Plus, but not for us. With some of the Running Man people.
They like to see us suffer.
They really do.
And then a couple of them have been on Running Man Official, which we do have access to that kind of.
Some episodes.
Occasionally.
Sometimes. You definitely can find it if you want to, type situation.
I mean, we should give a special shout out to Sparkling and the imitation drama with.
Oh, that's true.
Like half of them
ATEEZ
are in there.
featured heavily, not as ATEEZ, but as actors. In the drama imitation.
And they did very well.
A lot of them, a few of them were in the Sparkling.
Was like the kind of the most lead of the actor. He got the most lines of those. And so Sparkling had 3 of them?
Yeah.
3, 4,
and then
because I had San, Sunghwa, and
then
then you had another person
in it too, right?
And then Jungho,
and then another dude.
He's on the other.
Yeah, so Shax was like the darker boy band.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
the more popular boy band.
Jungho played like an older person over there. It's really funny.
Yeah. who rarely spoke. Except to say shenanigans with his roommate.
I did not watch the whole thing. You guys will have to.
I watched the whole thing. It was pretty funny.
I mean, you can go watch us talk about it on Frankie's channel because we did on the Road to Hagdom over on YouTube. We were chatting about it.
Yeah,
we watched the whole.
We did the whole show.
We debriefed every episode.
Yeah. Same as Kingdom. We also did Kingdom over there as well. So a lot of ATEEZ love went out in 2021.
And I will say, so speaking of the Kingdom performances, their Rhythm Ta cover, which was named something different, but the concepts and visuals and stuff they use for that are supposedly kind of going to be the ones that they're spinning off of a little for this new comeback.
A little tease of the new plot line.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it a lot because there was a lot of propaganda stuff.
There was a dirigible, an anarchy dirigible, very exciting.
Yeah, like on stage,
like a giant dirigible flew onto stage with a giant anarchy. The set people working on Kingdom were working overtime with ATEEZ.
And that's actually what I really wish that we could get some like behind the scenes footage of. Like, I want to see that stuff because especially with ATEEZ, because they had their Wonderland state. Like when you have a Kraken tentacle and a pirate ship and like
a Kraken, it was wild.
There were things going on to where I really want to see like what people actually did to make that come to life because it's awesome in the end and ATEEZ does a marvelous job, but also I'm like the artists that worked on this, I want to give them props and I want to see what they did because oh my goodness. But that Rhythm Toss stage, so like the dirigible, the kind of propaganda thing, like it's obvious that that's what they're going to tie into.
Something's coming back. I'm excited. I'm pumped. Pumped to fight the system, baby.
It looks good. I mean, like
it looks really
it's it's probably like almost 5-minute little clip that they've got out right now on the most latest.
You know what it kind of reminds me of? Like the excitement I feel while watching it and how much I wish it was like a movie is the same thing I felt when EXO had that Star Wars crossover and they did that sick lightsaber video that I was like, this is what the Star Wars world needs is like this cyberpunk Star Wars and the just regular world situation.
Right. No.
It basically these trailers are like every sci-fi book I love reading. Because I'm like really into cyberpunk stuff. So I'm just like, yes.
So that was part of the reason why I ended up choosing them for my like birthday stuff because I knew they were going to come back and I knew that this comeback was going to be. It's obvious that they've already teased that it's a little bit more on the Hala Hala side of concepts, and since that was what like really got me into them, I knew that I wanted to talk about them around this time because I'm super pumped. Because I'm sure whatever they come out with, I'm going to enjoy it.
The longer we let it go, the more content they build, and the harder doing an episode like this will become.
Because that became the problem. Because it did start being, well, I'm sure they'll have a comeback, and then they kept pumping out comeback, and it would never be during a moment that we could like.
It's a real like that's enough slices situation.
Because if we kept like even a year out, I can't really conceive how much stuff we would have had to cover. And it started being like, wow, we still haven't talked about ATEEZ. We need to make sure to go ahead and do that sometime.
Yeah.
We should really talk about ATEEZ. Might be time to talk about ATEEZ.
If we don't do it now, it's going to be too late, and it's going to be too much.
Be 2 episodes if we don't do it now.
2 parts.
Especially when they started doing like invitation stuff. It's like, no, don't start adding drama stuff too.
Yeah, no, stop it.
Actor tease. Stop.
No, we don't need this anymore. It's too much. But that's enough slices. Stop.
That's enough slices. So, before we sum up this wonderful episode we're having, what's everyone's like favorite song of theirs that they've done? Favorite music video, favorite song, because they can be different.
Mine are both Answer.
The same.
Yeah, Answer is my favorite. No other song has touched it yet, and I love the music video as well for it.
Answer feels so squarely in the Dreamcatcher universe too. Like it is in the Dreamcatcher universe completely.
Yeah.
For me, music video wise, Wonderland, sick.
Yeah.
But if we're talking songs, I actually have like a 2-way tie because both of these, every time they come up on my shuffle, I'm like transcended to like, I'm just like, yes. One is Promise, way back, and the other one is Win. Promise and Win. Those are my two.
Have you seen the like Win performance stages that they've done?
They're so good. Like
there's a pirate ship on stage. Like it's a thing.
There's like this little meme going around when Kingdom was going. There's this video that's just like from like I assume a parade, like a float that's like driving on the highway on its way to what I assume is a parade, and it's like it's a pirate ship, and the meme was like ATEEZ on their way to Kingdom. It was like, pirate ship like barreling down the highway.
And then there's another meme, like it's obviously a vehicle of, you know, a normal like van or something of some sort, but someone replaced the steering wheel with a wheel. They're always like driving ATEEZ somewhere.
Driving ATEEZ the next thing.
I think for me, like my favorites, I like it when they go a little similar to like when we were talking about Stray Kids. Like I like it when they're a little softer, a little less rap heavy. So I really like the songs like, I don't know, like Thank You and Dreamers and, you know. But that said, my favorite song and my favorite video is the same. I love The Real. I just love The Real so much. I love everything about the video. I love everything about the song. It's one of those ones where I don't watch a lot of videos, but it's one where when the song comes on, I'm seeing all the parts of the video. I can, you know, I'm like, yeah, and this is when they do this, and like this is, you know, because it's just so good. It's such a good, like, it's very cohesive, and the song is just so great.
For me,
now Sky, you gotta pick a favorite child. Like Sophie's Choice. This, come on, baby.
So, I mean, I really think that Holla Holla has to be like my absolute top song. And I will call it a music video. I'll go ahead and call that one a music video as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that at the time there wasn't much like it. Like it felt so different, and also I think it just adds a lot of depth to their concept and everything. Like,
yeah,
we haven't even talked about it. Oh my gosh, guys, clowns! We haven't talked about clones.
Oh my god, clones!
Very popular this year.
That year,
very in the K-pop world.
Yeah, there was
People
a lot of
love
clones
a good
in the
clone.
K-pop world at that point, but they embraced it.
Because I think that was the same year. That was the same year as Exoclones too.
No, see, listen, I have an alternate. I don't think they're clones. Okay, I'm about to take it to. I think that ATEEZ is really taking us on like an alternate universe situation, like a multiverse plot, as it were.
Yeah.
So they're like space
they're
pirates
aware
traveling
of
through
them, though.
Because so they're
aware
always,
of
like,
their
looking
at
multiverse.
them. Like
Yeah,
they're like singing to
like
their
through the looking glass, like they're seeing into another. This is
Okay.
I could be wrong. Okay,
So
I could be wrong.
They're at the
I'm
point.
just talking
they're
out of
at
my
the,
ass.
the glass, and they're
The glass,
looking at
dude,
each
like
other.
an Alice in Wonderland
situation.
Listen, I think I'm selling it.
Speaking of Wonderland,
I think I got Amanda on my side right now.
One thing I also have to throw into the concept stuff is another thing they not lyrically have put in a lot, but sometimes they do. So Wonderland and Neverland. So they kind of, without saying the word Peter Pan, well, sometimes they do. Actually.
Sometimes they do. Sometimes they
actually
just straight
do
up go, yeah, Peter Pan.
Straight up say Peter Pan. Hongjung is always kind of the Peter Pan character, and they keep putting that in.
Works with their name in a way too, that like staying as like teens essentially.
That plus pirates,
yeah.
We got a lot of literary.
Maybe it's just a whole literary multiverse, and they're just gonna hit different.
They always have butterflies, which
we're going into 1984.
Dreamcatcher always has butterflies. They are totally together.
Dreamcatcher does always have butterflies.
They sit at the same table. No, we've been punked. We've connected the dots.
We've cracked the code.
I also have to. I have to give props where it's due. Victon has to be dragged in just a little bit because they're with Alice and Wonderland.
That's true. That's true.
That's a lot of their stuff. So
and they do literary stuff as well. So
yeah,
listen, I think we're just in a big multiverse of novels, and we're just going into 1984 right now. Like
it's I mean,
it works.
One side thing I want to say. Because, my involvement with the fandom of ATEEZ is very limited. I only really follow like fan artists because there are just a handful of fan artists that I really enjoy their art styles and stuff, and some of the fanfic too. There's some really unique stuff out there. But so I do not. 18E, for the record, the fandom name is 18E. It's supposed to be like Destiny.
I don't love it. But
it could be worse.
I'm looking at you, Wano. It could be worse.
It works in the way that, like, when you hear 18E, you immediately would think ATEEZ.
Right. It at least connects.
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna freaking say?
But about you don't
interact with the fandom that much.
But there was gonna be like an end to that story though. So like I don't interact with the fandom all that much.
Except for the fan artists.
But it's because what we were talking about, like, it was going to be this whole thing. Shoot. It'll probably come to me in a moment.
Okay. I want to know this just to, like, also make you squirm, because I think it might make you squirm. Who's your bias? Do you have a bias?
So that actually reminds me of so this pretty much sums it up. When I was staying in line for the concert back in 2018, 2019, whenever that was. Some really nice fan artist person was going around. They had cut out little tiny square art cards of each of the members in their Hall outfits and stuff. It was really cute. And so they're like, "Who's your bias?" And I actually said, I think I said San. And then I had met this gal named Jessica. And I think she said somehow she said San. The person didn't hear me because I probably wasn't loud enough. But she ended up giving me Sunghwa. I was like, that's fine. Like, that's really how I feel about it.
Works for me.
And so, but the friend that I had just made, she was like, she was maybe going to catch the girl to like correct her or something. I was like, no, I'm good. No, really, this is fine. It's fine. It's my bias too. Like, this is legitimately fine.
Who's your bias?
By
ATEEZ bias. Like,
But
Mingy
really,
for me, it's
I
Mingy.
do think
I guessed Mingy for you. I'm glad that I was correct.
I
do
it's
think
the vibes. I always go by the vibes, and he and I same vibes. Same vibes.
San is probably my first bias. Songhua is probably my second. San though,
See, I picked San for you.
It goes back to pre-debut San because like the kid is an introvert. I don't care what he looks like on
If
stage.
I were to pick one for Jessie, now,
oh,
Yosan?
No, I will preface with Jessie specifically centered her research around figuring out who her bias
that was like my job for this time. I was like, you know what? Like, I've actually listened to all their music, so I'm gonna have fun with this and like actually like do
I'm
stuff.
guessing.
So
I'm
my
guessing
like
Yosan.
research. Okay,
that's my guess. Sorry to interrupt. That was my guess.
But
okay.
I think the fact that you researched it though, that's what's throwing me off.
I know.
Yeah.
See, I researched it, but inevitably I picked the same person that I thought was going to be my bias. So
the vibes
I don't even know why. Yeah,
the vibes went out every time.
I will say that like it works in like I do pick a lot of this type of person.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go with Jungho. That's my guess.
Oh, okay.
That's weird. That was going to be my guess too, but then I was like, I had no reason for it at all. But I was like, I feel like Jungho. So
Maknae was the part. Maknae vocal. That's why.
I'm going with it. No, I like Jungho. Jungho is an amazing singer. He's really good. I like him.
Incredible.
But it's Songhua. Yeah, because he's quiet. I pick the quiet ones always.
Yes.
But also, I just want to say this: Songhua and Wonpil are the same soul. Like they are. They're the same exact person.
They are.
Like watching them, I'm like, oh my god, they're like. If you like Wonpil, there's no way that you wouldn't like Songhua as a human.
They need to be best friends.
Yeah, they might be a little too quiet with each other.
Yeah,
that's true. Do you have a bias, Amanda?
I know who Amanda's bias is.
I mean, no,
it's Yuno.
It's Yuno.
Okay.
She's always like Yuno.
I always pick rappers for like Amanda. So.
I know, but when it's not a rapper, it's the tall dancer.
Okay.
So,
yeah. No, that makes sense.
Tall puppy.
She's
always tall puppy.
You know.
Yeah. I always go chaos vibes.
And I feel like
when
they were first out, I feel like Yunho, like he was always sort of in the back of the choreo. He was like, because he's tall and I feel like he didn't get the focus that he, like now he gets all kinds of focus. Like they all do. They all get their time in the spotlight. But I feel like, man, it was a struggle back in the day because it would be like, there were no fan cams and it would be like trying to catch like the corner of him and somebody else's fan camera and I'd be like peeking around the corner, like, give me just
listen, they can give a balloon a fan cam and they can't figure out you know what is this?
So Jessie, why did you guess San for me?
I don't like I just felt that he
vibes.
he fit like the vibes that you would usually pick. Like cuz San is just like a very like easygoing guy too. Like if you see, he's the one who's paired up with every single person the most, like as official pairs.
Right.
When that's not like the case for everyone. And like he's just like just goes through everyone and then it's just like that felt like right. I will say that like secondary for Natalia was Woo Young. He just felt like on vibes.
He's additional chaos vibes.
It's the vibes.
Yeah.
Like when it's like when you're looking at most of
Mingy is like angel chaos vibes.
Yes. Woo Young is not angel.
He's devil chaos.
No.
Yeah.
But it's like you combine like the chaos vibes with just the bald face lying. I'm just like, yeah, it's like him, Baekhyun, like that's I'm not gonna say they're liars, but I ain't gonna call them truthers, you know what I mean? No, I love it. I love the energy.
Well, so one thing I haven't mentioned about San, like, and they don't talk about this as much anymore, but the first year or two they would talk about like he had a very favorite plushie, but he had other plushie. Like he's a plushie dude too. Like he's a very soft centered person. All of them are, but he's very that way. So
no, yeah, he's definitely the one who's just like in love with everyone. Like people, they would be speaking, and he's just like, he's just like always just like
doing
oh,
like
you're
the
so
lean,
dreamy.
looking over.
Yeah,
like, Everything you say is so wonderful.
I'm so glad that I get to be like part of your group. Like,
I'm so glad that we're friends. And we're roommates and we live together.
And I do think one clip that's fun, even if you don't know them very well. There's this one, and it's early on. They were watching their own music videos and stuff, and they were supposed to not like groove to it or anything. They watched other videos, but when it came to like theirs, they just like gave up, and they're like, whatever.
The reaction channel one.
Yeah.
There's also really cute. They do like that reaction channel does, you know, they obviously do like reactions to like stuff. And so they were doing reactions to ATEEZ songs, and then ATEEZ came in to surprise them too, and they're so cute in it because like a couple of them like knew Korean, and they're like, yeah, I'm Korean, and they're like, oh my god, and they're freaking out because they didn't expect anybody to be like Korean.
Yeah, it was really cute. And then there's one where the assignment was to like go surprise. So there was already a cover dance performance group that was dressed up like, I think it was Wonderland era type stuff.
Yeah.
And so they were doing that. And so they had put all this makeup on San, makeup
like
and
an old man
outfit, the whole 9 yards.
He had a cane.
So they had him like kind of stealthily go up and like interact with them a bit as this like 80 whatever year old man, and then it was like, surprise, it's ATEEZ, and then they danced with this performance group, and you could tell in that moment that was like the best moment of that dance performance group's lives. Like, oh my gosh. But then San is there like performing in his grandpa outfit.
Yeah, well, so like the rest of them are just wearing like regular 20-somethings K-pop idol outfit, and then there's just old man with like a beard and like a Newsies hat. Just like, what is happening? Like, it was a whole performance. Like, he fell over as though like he had tripped, like old man tripped. Everyone was all concerned. And then he's like, psych, dance time. Like, it
was really fun.
Quality video.
And another fun surprise thing that happened, and again, it was kind of early on in their stuff, but so Jungho, he was like this huge fan of some Australian like ballad guy.
Oh yeah.
And so that guy was performing somewhere, and they took Jungho there, and they had him like meet the guy, and he was just so starstruck and stuff. It was just really sweet. He just kept saying like how much he liked that guy, and just, you're my idol. It was just so cute.
That's my favorite genre, is like idols meeting their idols.
Yeah.
Is just, I love it.
That's kind of another fun thing about ATEEZ, the fact that they come over to the States and they go to that like Millennium Dance place, like that a lot of idols end up going to. But so they have these connections with a lot of the dancers there. And so anytime they come back to the States, they try to like see those people again and like give them albums and like thank them. And they're just very grateful. And that's also how they get a lot of their English stuff, because they go practice there a lot. And that's how they learned a lot of their, you know, the crumping and the very specific choreo styles that they have for some of their things, like they were taught over here. So you can kind of always tell, like, whenever they come back to the States and they kind of hang out there a while, you know, they're kind of going back to what they see as their home ground, which they did a lot when they were in pre-debut time. I like ATEEZ a lot. I can always talk about ATEEZ a lot. I can talk about ATEEZ forever. But check them out. There's a lot more there than you think. Really, really. Especially if you give a cursory glance. It definitely is like, oh, there's only like Fever and there's only Treasure. Like, no. Part 1, 2, 3. There's a lot more depth to that. And a lot of the singles are also within the albums. So don't get too scared off by the number of singles. And again, a lot of them are Japanese as well, which are often just the Japanese versions of the songs. There were some remixes too, if that's something that you enjoy. Some people don't really care for remixes, but there are some fun remixes. A whole album of that.
Yeah, they're really good. My mom likes them. The remixes. My mom thinks they're great.
Well, I think it's always fun, especially with the more symphony-driven songs. Like, so you can always take the symphony out of it and put other types of music, or you can really go heavy with the symphony stuff. And I think part of the reason why I started really getting into the ATEEZ music, I really like the high energy, piratey sounding, like movie score stuff to where
epic. They're epic sounding.
Right. And that is not every song they have. I will say that their styles vary. They have a variety of something for everybody. Kind of, really. They do have softer songs. They're not always, oh, this is Pirates of the Caribbean third time over. Not always, but sometimes they are.
You know, they got range. They got range.
Yep. And their light stick is called Lightini. Like a light and A-teeny. They voted on that. That was a bad choice, but that's fine.
It's got mine, right?
Yeah, I got one back there.
And I do not, for the life of me, remember what I was going to say about the fandom. I will say about the fandom, mostly problematic. Sorry.
What would it be?
So when I identify as, like, I'll say I'm an A-teeny, sure, because I'm a fan of the group. That doesn't mean that I
don't really participate in any fandom situations.
Honestly,
I feel like I've learned my
I'll do
lesson
hottest,
there.
and that's about it. Even with Dreamcatcher, I'm like,
there's always something, and it's like
you're like, I am too old for this shit.
There's always a very loud element of every fandom that's just like making it look like we're all crazy. So
and it's you can't participate, right? Like as soon as you start participating in the fandom, you're gonna say something wrong, do something wrong, and then it's going to be like they're going to be on you, attacking you. It's like I've had
also
like two different fandoms that I just have walked away from because of that. So
and like I don't need to be told every 5 minutes that I should be streaming at every moment of my life. Like I got other shit I want to do. Okay. I listen to the music I like a normal human amount.
Yeah.
They get my numbers.
They get money, but you know who gets the most money? Google. So I don't know why we like are constantly wanting Google to have more money.
Right.
Yeah,
so I really wish I would have known what I was going to make some like clever thing about the fandom observation that I had. I'll let you know on Twitter.
It'll just be for us.
It was
a little private conversation.
The moment we stop recording.
Oh, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Because it connected, like whatever we had been talking about, it connected specifically to that. And but my in between stuff made me get lost.
Yeah,
happens.
Whatever.
But anyway, check out their covers.
Yes.
And their Immortal Song stuff.
Also, their music video for Black Hat Narrow, which features Kim Jong-kook as a vampire.
Yes, it's so good. So good.
So good.
So fun.
They're all vampires, but like he's like the head of the vampires. It's delightful.
And they're pretty soft guys. Like it's the Monsta X thing. If you're seeing, like, for instance, San be, oh, that's actually no. Anyway, I do know that people have tried to say about ATEEZ like that they don't like their performance style and that they're too over the top and things like that.
That's because they have no taste.
Well, but quite often it'll be when it's specifically when they're crumping or something, and it's usually because people are just not familiar with the types of choreography that's happening, and it's fine if people dislike that. It's fine if it's like not somebody's thing, but they would try to attribute it to like ATEEZ is overdoing it or something, and it's like, no, they're doing that style correctly. It's just that you haven't seen it before. And I also think it's very important to mention that crumping and things like that come from Black artists. So don't think that ATEEZ came up with these things.
No.
It is not unique to ATEEZ. These things originate with Black artists and Black choreographers and things and performers. So that's a thing.
Don't be that K-pop fan who goes, it was never good until, because no, you were also wrong.
Stop it. Get some help.
You know, just like rapping, where does rapping come from? Black artists. Where do a lot of these choreographies come from? Black. And actually, what are a lot of K-pop songs produced by? Black artists.
Yeah.
Yes.
They start with production sometimes that way. So like you need to be aware and you need to give your support where it's due
accordingly.
Right. It's great that all these K-pop choreographies and stuff ends up with these really cool moves, but we need to know where they come from, because without knowing that, you are not giving them the credit, and that's horrific. So do that. get some help. Do that.
Get some. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode on ATEEZ. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. We were on a little bit of a break because we usually take a little bit of break this time of summer. It just sort of always turns out that way because of travel and things. But we're back in action. So we're all back home and with internet that works and not dying of illnesses. So we will be back and as always, you can listen to our podcast wherever podcasts can be found, but we put them all up on YouTube. So if you want to go to our YouTube, which is youtube.com/certified Noonas, all one word, and, maybe subscribe to our channel because we also do live streams almost every week as well. And all of our information and everything we talk about can be found on certifiednoonas.com, our home on the web. If you would like to support this podcast, you can go to patreon.com/certifiednoonas to become a member of the Certified Found family, which is our family on the web. We also have a very thriving Discord community where we put up all of our information and everyone chats about dramas and music and all sorts of stuff that they like. And it's super fun. We have watch parties over there. It's good times. It's good times for everyone involved. Free to join. And if you want to find us on social medias, we are primarily on Instagram and Twitter, and it's always at Certified Noonas, one word. Anyway, thank you for listening. We hope you have a great week. Stay safe, wear a mask, wash your hands, and as always, keep enjoying Asian entertainment. Bye.
Bye.
My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie. Oh God, Jessie.
I'm Natalia. Oh,
we can start over.
Let's start over.
Jessie,
That was rough. That went a little rough. Let's start again.